What will happen when a super active puppy meets a tiny newborn baby? Everyone thought it could be risky. They said the puppy might be too wild. But what happened next surprised everyone. The story begins with a lovely couple named Andrew and Grace. They lived in the warm and sunny city of Tampa, Florida. After being married for 7 happy years, they finally felt ready to start a family. It was something they had always dreamed about, and now it was really happening. Grace had just given birth to a baby boy named Charlie. He was small, sweet, and filled their home with love and laughter. Everything felt perfect, but there was one thing that made them a little nervous. Just a week before Charlie was born, Andrew and Grace brought home a puppy. They hadn't planned it. At first, they wanted to wait until Charlie turned 1 before getting a pet. They believed that the friendship between a dog and a child could be very special. But something unexpected happened. One of their close friends passed away suddenly and left behind a little puppy with no one to care for him. Andrew and Grace couldn't let the puppy go to a shelter. Even though they were about to become parents, they opened their home and hearts to the little dog. Now they had a baby and a puppy, and a new adventure was just beginning. At first, it felt like they had made the perfect choice. The puppy was friendly, playful, and always excited to see Andrew and Grace. He wagged his tail, licked their faces, and followed them everywhere. But soon, they realized he was a lot more work than they expected. The little dog had endless energy. He ran all over the house, jumped on the furniture, raced through the yard, and sniffed every corner. No matter how much they played with him or how much he ate, he never seemed tired. It was like he had a battery that never ran out. Even the vet said, "This puppy is full of energy. He might not be sleeping well." Andrew and Grace started to worry. A tired puppy could become nervous or act out. With baby Charlie arriving soon, they needed everything to be calm and safe. They began to wonder, would the puppy be okay around a newborn? Could he accidentally hurt the baby? Would he feel jealous or lonely? Then, the big day finally came. Grace was ready to bring baby Charlie home. Andrew picked them up from the hospital. Grace held Charlie close as they drove home, feeling nervous but full of love. The house was finally ready. Everything was clean, safe, and baby-proofed. The nursery walls were painted a soft blue, and in the middle stood a brand new crib, waiting for baby Charlie. Andrew and Grace felt excited and a little nervous as they opened the front door to bring their newborn home. But right away, something unexpected happened. The puppy rushed over, tail wagging and eyes wide. He jumped at Grace's legs, curious about the small bundle she held in her arms. He could tell something was different. He could sense the baby. Before anything else happened, Andrew quickly picked up the puppy and gently placed him behind the dog gate. The puppy stared through the bars, confused. Why couldn't he come close? Why was he being blocked? Over the next few days, everything changed for him. He wasn't allowed in all the rooms anymore. He couldn't sleep on the bed. He couldn't go into the nursery. Most of all, he didn't get as much attention as before. At first, the puppy cried and scratched at the doors. But then he stopped. He started being calm and quiet. That's when Andrew and Grace noticed the change. Maybe, just maybe, their puppy was ready to be Charlie's friend. So they took things slowly. Grace held baby Charlie close while the puppy sniffed his tiny head. Everyone held their breath. But nothing bad happened. The puppy was calm and curious. That was a good sign. Little by little, they let the puppy get closer. Soon, he was allowed to sit beside Charlie on the couch. The two started to become friends, and something special began to happen. The puppy would cuddle up next to Charlie. Charlie would giggle and wave his little hands. He loved the feeling of the puppy's soft fur. It made him laugh every time. It was like they were meant to be together. Andrew and Grace were so happy. Their little family felt complete. Everything seemed perfect. But then, something unexpected happened. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon. Andrew and Grace were relaxing on the couch, wrapped in a warm blanket. Baby Charlie was sleeping on a soft blanket on the living room floor. The whole house felt peaceful. Well, almost peaceful. The puppy still had too much energy. Even after taking medicine from the vet to help him sleep, he still stayed awake. The vet had said, "If you find something that helps him rest, stick with it." But nothing had worked yet. Then, the puppy started walking toward Charlie. Andrew and Grace sat up quickly. They watched closely. If the puppy got too close or made a loud noise, it might wake the baby, or worse, hurt him by accident. But something amazing happened. The puppy walked gently to Charlie's blanket and sat down beside his head. Then, he slowly walked in a small circle, brushing against the baby. Grace held her breath. Andrew leaned forward, and then, the most surprising thing of all, the puppy laid his head softly on Charlie's tiny head. And within seconds, his eyes began to close. Slowly and calmly, the puppy fell asleep, right there on top of the baby. Andrew and Grace couldn't believe their eyes. They looked at each other in shock. The puppy, who was always full of energy, was finally asleep. And not just any sleep. It was a calm, deep, peaceful sleep. They had never seen him like this before. And all it took was being close to baby Charlie. They both laughed with joy. They had been so worried about bringing a baby into a house with a wild puppy. But it turned out, Charlie was the one thing that brought peace to their little dog. From that moment on, everything changed. Whenever the puppy couldn't sleep, they let him rest near Charlie. Sometimes he curled up beside the baby's crib. Other times he laid quietly on the floor while Charlie napped. The puppy didn't even need to touch him. Just being close was enough. As Charlie grew older, their bond stayed strong. If Charlie went to daycare or visited his grandparents, the puppy would walk around the house, restless and sad. He couldn't relax without his best friend nearby. Most babies need a blanket or stuffed toy to sleep, but in this family, it was the puppy who needed the baby. Andrew and Grace felt so happy and calm. At first, many neighbors and family members had warned them. "The puppy might be too wild," they said. "It could be dangerous for baby Charlie." They were worried the puppy's energy would be a problem. But now all of them were wrong. The puppy wasn't a problem. He was a gift. He didn't just behave. He became Charlie's best friend. Whenever the puppy slept beside Charlie, Grace would quietly take out her phone and record the moment. It was too sweet not to save. One day she shared a video online with the caption, "I've heard stories of dogs and babies being best friends, but I never believed it until I saw it myself. My puppy can't sleep unless he's near my son. They're best friends forever." The video went viral in the neighborhood. People shared kind words and sent love to the family. Everyone was touched by the beautiful bond. In the end, what started as an unexpected choice turned into something truly special. Charlie didn't just get a pet, he found a best friend. And the puppy? He found peace, comfort, and love in the heart of a baby who didn't even know how special he was.